Hey everyone, Scapegoat Stephen, we're back with another video battle report for Marvel Crisis Protocol. So we're going to shake up the format again a little bit just to get an idea of what the full lists look like, the full rosters with the 10 cards for tactics and the 10 character cards before we dive into what the game ended up being. So let's crack on right into that. We've got A-Force versus Guardians of the Galaxy. Right, so A-Force, they're going to be on the left-hand side of your screen as you watch the game. This is me actually playing the A-Force versus my friend running Guardians. We've got She-Hulk, obviously affiliation leader, and then every model in my roster currently is affiliated, although I am messing about with some splash for future games that you may see recorded. We've got Angela, Black Cat, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Crystal, Domino, Medusa, Okoye, and Valkyrie. So we've got a great mix there of Angela at 5 threat. You've got Captain Marvel and Medusa at 3 threat. You've got Okoye and Black Widow at 2 threat, and then everyone else in there is a 3 threat. Great staple. Haven't got to worry about unaffiliated characters either for the purposes of A-Force, given that we have 2 cards that play on only affiliation models. So we have A-Force Assemble, Advanced R&D, Blind Obsession, Indomitable, Marked for Death, Med Pack, Mission Objective, Patch Up, Special Delivery, and Stalwart Determination. Now we've got a couple of tech piece cards here, a couple of healing cards, and some just all-round decent cards. So the A-Force specific cards being A-Force Assemble, Special Delivery, and Stalwart Determination, all really good. Special Delivery obviously gives that mobility to She-Hulk, especially with the options of Angela, Crystal, or Captain Marvel at each of the different threat levels that can pick her up and throw her into the fray. Obviously, Captain Marvel's a little bit slower than the other 2, but it gives me an option there should I want it. Stalwart Determination, great card, no pushes or throws on my A-Force models. Yes, thank you very much. That's probably, you'll see why I've given the entire roster A-Force. I've played a few A-Force games where I've thrown in people like Rogue, and you haven't been able to play that Stalwart Determination card on her because she's not A-Force. Obviously, she also doesn't help Special Delivery. She flies, but she's not faction, so she can't actually use that card to drag She-Hulk around. So I played a bit more with Captain Marvel as my 4th threat just to try her out. Bit different to Rogue, still got throws, obviously not as mobile, but has some longer ranged good output with her energy shots. Blind Obsession is again a little bit of a tech piece card into, oh my god, there's something really horrific that I need to deal with. Let's try it. And same for Mark for Death. If I come, it's kind of an anti-web warrior card, not going to lie. That's why it's in there. And Mission Objective, very decent card for trying to keep hold of the scenario play when you have certain elements. Now, I tend to prefer scenarios where we can all bunch up. Obviously, She-Hulk likes that, enjoys that, give a good punch. But Mission Objective gives me, again, that little bit of leeway for if we do have a spread out crises and I need to basically have to drop an objective when I'm shot, handing it over to someone else. So that is the A-Force roster that I was bringing to this game. So this is our Guardians of the Galaxy roster we're playing into. Guardians of the Galaxy, very hot pick in the meta right now. They've got great ability to either go super wide or to go quite narrow, but with that core of 2 or 3 Guardians characters to make sure they count as affiliated. So we have Star-Lord, Drax, Ebony Maw with the Space Gem, again, very meta pick right now, Gamora, Ghost Rider, Groot, Nebula, Rocket, Rogue, and Winter Soldier. Apologies, I don't know why I didn't put unaffiliated next to Rogue. Winter Soldier has his own strange little abilities for counting as affiliated for making up your roster. Now, Guardians really like these big models like Ebony Maw and Ghost Rider because they can throw winging it tokens through them. They also like things like Hulk, Hulkbuster, She-Hulk for a very similar reason. It's looking at very specifically at the moment, Ebony Maw's a really good control piece. Really good control piece, and Ghost Rider's a really good killing piece. So actually, if you can get the right combination of crises and they give you that extra flex, that ability to trade into certain matchups better. As far as tactic cards go, we've got Battle Lust, Blind Obsessions, Deadly Duo, Deal with the Devil, Field Dressing, Indomitable, Mark for Death, Med Pack, Shhh, and We Are Groot. Now, obviously, Deal with the Devil, very situational card. If you're going into a beating team, a bit like A-Force, then having that ability to bring back Ghost Rider by replacing another model with him, quite useful. Deadly Duo with Rocket and Groot, again, really good combo card. not affiliated cards specifically to Guardians of the Galaxy, just to those 2 characters. So actually a really useful card to bring with them, especially because they only take up 6 points between a 3-threat Groot and a 2-threat Rocket. That's also worth talking about here, actually. So Star-Lord is only a 3-threat leader, really good for it, gives out some decent buffing, decent debuffing. You've got Ebony Maw with the Space Gem is actually a 6-threat, Ghost Rider's a 5-threat, Gamora's a 4-threat, Nebula and Rocket are both 2 threats, Rocket's Nebula and Rocket are 2 threats, Rogue's a 4-threat, Winter Soldier is a really flexible 3-threat. If you go super wide with Winter Soldier, every time someone dazes or KOs one of your models, he's potentially getting extra shots into enemies, just a bit of chip damage. Really like Winter Soldier, actually. Again, with the game that I've played as Guardians and against Guardians, with him in, really good little card. We Are Groot, tactics card, great for healing. Indomitable, Shhh is amazing. Can't say that I was a huge fan of it when I found out exactly what it did. First time playing against Ebony Maw that these games are. So that is the Guardians of the Galaxy roster, and we'll jump in and see what we ended up with for the game. So I won priority, and we ended up with Intrusions, open across cities as seals collapse, which was my opponent's card, and I drew Spider Infected Invade Manhattan as my card. My opponent chose 19 threat, principally because he wanted to try out a taller list with the Guardians. So we ended up with me also trying to go tall with She-Hulk, Angela, Medusa, and Captain Marvel. So that's 2 4 threats, a 5 threat, and a 6 threat. And my opponent bought Star-Lord, Ebony Maw with the Space Gem, Ghost Rider, Groot, and Rocket. I bought A-Force Assemble, Indomitable, Mission Objective, Special Delivery, and Stalwart Determination. My opponent bought Deadly Duo, Deal with the Devil, Indomitable, Medpack, and Shhh. So Angela is now deployed, sort of centre on the left, opposite Star-Lord. So I'm going to put Captain Marvel just a little bit out to the right, on the basis she can get that Spider Infected and potentially a portal. Down comes Ghost Rider in the centre for the Guardians. Medusa, sort of opposite Star-Lord. We've got Groot going down just the other side of Ghost Rider. She-Hulk's down, and then Rocket. Groot's already gone down. Rocket is on top of the building, and then Ebony Maw goes front and centre, which he's going to love, I'm sure. So I'm going to start. Angela is going to move to the central objective, grab the Spider Infected, and then run the hell away from Ebony Maw and go towards that left portal so that she can hold that, with the intent then that I will have She-Hulk walk up behind her shortly after. So Rocket's going to go next. He's going to move forward and shoot at Angela. Just after a little bit of deliberation by my opponent over who he actually moves and activates first. We've got a lot here actually where we do stop and think and discuss out options and possible moves during this game, just because I think we're both trying to make the game as interesting and understand, make sure we don't get gotchas or anything on our opponent as possible. So Rocket's going to move, he's going to shoot, and he does no damage to Angela. So She-Hulk's going to move next in a bid for me to avoid going anywhere near Ebony Maw, for him to either attack or pull someone into, say, like Ghost Rider. Oh, sorry, there we go. We're just rolling the defense and attack. So here goes She-Hulk. She picks up that Spider Infected in the top left, and then uses her second action to try and move close to tagging that portal. Unfortunately, she doesn't get close enough. So Ghost Rider's going to go next. He is going to move and go towards Angela. He's going to stop at just the range of his attacks, but close enough to also pick up that Spider Infected that's next to him. He's going to attack Angela and do 3 damage. So I'm going to choose to pass with my next action on the basis I've got more models than my opponents. So I want to maintain priority, but I want to see what he's going to do next. So he's going to do Groot. Groot is going to walk forward. Groot's got is a smaller move, but he has a range 3 attack. So he's going to move and just do a strike into Angela and also do 3 damage to her straight away. Angela, I didn't have the power, unfortunately, to bodyguard. Oh no, I should have had the power to bodyguard with She-Hulk, so a little mistake there. Angela takes 3 damage and is dazed, so the spider infected gets dropped. Captain Marvel is going to double move, so she's going to move and grab that spider infected she's basically stood right on top of, and then she's going to move a second time to contest that intrusions portal towards the bottom of the camera. Star-Lord's going to go. He is going to move to pick up the spider infected there, which he does so. He's then going to deliberate whether or not he comes to contest the objective that Captain Marvel is on, or does he go to the centre to try and hold that objective? In the end, he's kind of happy to leave one of my characters sat on the wing on an objective. So Medusa's going to go next. She is going to walk forwards so that she is within range to strike at Star-Lord, knowing that if I get a wild, I will be able to push him out of contesting that middle objective. Unfortunately, she does no damage and also doesn't do the wild. So it was a bit unfortunate, really. There, she didn't really do a lot with that activation. Not at all, really. So Ebony Maw's going to go next. He's going to activate. He is going to move forward with his first action. He's then going to use the Space Gem to teleport himself within 2. He's then going to just be on the cusp of range to Black Tongue Medusa, which he does and gets 3 damage through on Medusa. He's then going to move her back ever so slightly, but just in range of being able to pick up this huge building next to him, this size 4, and throw it at Medusa, which does enough damage to daze Medusa. So for anyone who's counting, yes, I have just had 2 characters dazed on turn 1, one of which I could have stopped by using She-Hulk's bodyguard, but that's more fool me. Didn't quite expect Medusa to go down straight away like that. But that's the end of turn 1. So yeah, very eventful turn 1, where I had 2 characters dazed, both Angela and Medusa, but we both score 3 points. So we both got 2 spider infected, because Angela's not holding a spider infected, and we both have one of the portals. I've got the one on the far side, the nearest part of the map, and my opponent's got the central one. So that is 3 points each going into turn 2. So we are going to roll for the spider infected, and Star-Lord and Ghost Rider both get moved. None of my models get moved, and no one else does. So there we go. There's Star-Lord and Ghost Rider. So Angela, I'm going to play Stalwart Determination on all my A-Force characters, so they can't be pushed or thrown. Angela is then going to special delivery She-Hulk towards Ebony Maw, who's then going to punch Ebony Maw for 4 damage. Which is a nice start. She is then going to use Heaven's Wrath, because unfortunately she is out of range to do her melee attacks, and she is going to do 2 damage. So we've done 6 damage to Ebony Maw. We do debate actually here, do I throw anything at him, but I don't have the power just to try and finish him off. So Ebony Maw's going to go next before anything happens, and he is going to Black Tongue Angela. So he's going to, principally Black Tongue does damage, but also it can cause me to move, and crucially it is not either a throw or a push, it is an advance, annoyingly, so it gets around Stalwart Determination. But he's going to Black Tongue Angela. He does 4 damage. Angela's only got 7 health on her injured side, remember, because she got dazed last turn. She is then going to go on a little walk because he does get the wild. So there's a bit of talk here about the use of Black Tongue, how it works, what it does, the movement involved with it as well. So there's a lot of chat about what's the best thing to do here with the walk as well. She's going to move Angela over there. He's going to then med pack himself, so he does heal a bit on Ebony Maw. He's then going to Black Tongue She-Hulk and do 6 damage. Oh, Absolutely crazy. What I completely and utterly forget here, which you'll note as a recurring theme with Ebony Maw, Black Tongue, is I forget that I can just walk back towards him with like her aggressive ability on She-Hulk. He's then going to pick up the car and throw the car into Angela, do 1 damage to Angela, so that leaves Angela, I believe, on 2 health now, and he's then going to place himself the other side of Star-Lord within 2. So I don't really fancy moving She-Hulk to do attacks, so I'm going to activate Medusa next. She's going to Royal Decree herself, so she stood in front of She-Hulk, and then Royal Decree She-Hulk in front of her. She's going to attack Ebony Maw and do enough damage to daze him, which I wasn't expecting. She's then going to use A-Force Assemble, which I believe I also get wrong. I think I'd been assuming that the wording on it meant that only the person who plays it gets the defensive buff, whereas it turns out that's not the case. It should be everyone. So unfortunately, She-Hulk doesn't roll as many defense dice as she could do in the coming rest of the turn. But again, something to bear in mind for next time that I play with A-Force. So pretty happy with that. We dazed more. We haven't actually activated She-Hulk yet, so she's still got to go, and obviously can do quite a bit of damage to people. So Star-Lord is going to shoot Angela on his next activation, because Star-Lord probably doesn't want to stay too close to She-Hulk. He does 1 damage to Angela, so he's forced to then hit and run and do another attack into Angela, but he does KO her. So he does manage to take her out of contention, and then he actually goes to the other side of Medusa, so that he is just about touching the scenario zone there, meaning that Angela and She-Hulk will need to stay near there. So She-Hulk is going to now go next. She's just going to walk so that she's in range of... I do debate whether or not do I go with Captain Marvel. Can Captain Marvel get in range? No, there is no way for Captain Marvel to sit on that objective and shoot with her range 4, unfortunately, into anyone unless they come closer. So She-Hulk moves, so she's within 2 of both Ebony Maw and Star-Lord, so she can attack either direction. She then superior weight trains and punches Star-Lord, doing 5 damage. She then goes to throw Star-Lord, but Star-Lord will play Indomitable to stop himself being thrown around by her. Obviously, if I had got the throw, then potentially we would have dazed Star-Lord then as well. She could have thrown him into something, just done that 1 extra damage. But she's, like I said, she's within 2 of both Star-Lord and Ebony Maw now, because I still have priority for next turn. So Ghost Rider's going to go. He is going to Hell on Wheels towards She-Hulk and Medusa in the middle. So he's then going to hit She-Hulk. Obviously, I completely and utterly forget about the fact that A-Force Assemble should buff her as well. He does 1 damage. He then penance stares She-Hulk, and oh god, this goes badly. He does 9 damage into She-Hulk, and She-Hulk loses 9 power. Yeah. Oh, absolutely crazy. I roll badly. My opponent rolls well. It's just 10 dice attack, 9 damage into what should have been rolling like a 4 or 5 dice defense, but never mind. She takes the hit and she loses the 9 power. For anyone who's aware of the way penance stare works, I'm then going to pass. Again, I've got more activations than my opponent. I kind of want to see what he's going to do. So he's going to Deadly Duo after some deliberation with both Rocket and Groot. Well, obviously with Rocket, but the card pays for off both of them. So there's only 2 targets for Deadly Duo, which are Medusa and She-Hulk, but he's going to do it anyway. He shoots Medusa and does nothing. Shoots She-Hulk, does 1 damage. Rocket then chooses just to shoot She-Hulk and does no damage. He then does his second shot into She-Hulk and does no damage. It was really, really unfortunate, I think, given that She-Hulk's actually taken a reasonable amount, like 15 odd damage at this stage. So I'm just going to move Captain Marvel and just binary so that she's got loads of defense on that far objective. In hindsight, maybe I should have ran her towards that central objective, but you know, maybe that was a misplay on my part, thinking that maybe I can get her somewhere where she can then do some shooting the following turn. So Groot's going to move. He's going to pick up a spider infected. He is going to hit She-Hulk, and he is going to daze her. So last activation of turn 2, he's going to daze She-Hulk. Again, that 9 damage from Ghost Rider. No, you can't plan for that, unfortunately. Sometimes it just happens. That's the way the game works. He is going to root Medusa as well. We then have a discussion about whether or not I should play. We try to score up at the end of the turn, and then we have a discussion about mission objective. And that actually, why don't I just play that on She-Hulk so I can give the token to Medusa, which in the end we decide actually that makes sense. That would be the right thing to do in this circumstance. It's not like She-Hulk doesn't have the power from being KO'd. So goes on to Medusa, who then has a spider infected, and she's got root from Groot. So that's the end of turn 2. So end of turn 2, we are still drawn at 6-all. So I've scored a portal and 2 of the spider infected, and my opponent scores 3 of the spider infected. So it's 3 points a pop, 6-all. However, I am now down to 2 models. I only have Medusa and I only have Captain Marvel left. So it's not looking too great for me. I have dazed Ebony Maw. I've left Star-Lord on 1 health. But the other 3 characters are looking pretty healthy. So let's see how we get on in turn 3. So going into turn 3, I still have priority because I've got a lot less characters on the board than my opponent. So I'm going to start with Medusa because she's in the middle of a bunch of people. And I look at Medusa's card, first time I've used Medusa, and I'm liking the look of it. So what we start with is we open with her standard attack into Ebony Maw. We did pretty well. Again, she's got that inhuman reroll for the attack and defense, which really helps. So she's actually going to do 4 damage into Ebony Maw with this first attack, and she's going to get both her triggers. So she's going to get the push and the flurry. So I look at Medusa's card again, and I push Ebony Maw towards me. You know, having already done 4 damage, quite happy. The flurry doesn't say it has to target that original character, so I hit Ghost Rider, knowing again that Quill is only on 1 HP at the moment. So we hit Ghost Rider, we do another 4 damage to Ghost Rider, quite nice. And then we activate our Spender. Her Spender is an Area 2 attack, so I've got 3 enemy characters in here. So we're going to go into Ghost Rider, unfortunately only going to do 2 damage to Ghost Rider, so we've only actually done 6 damage to Ghost Rider. We're then going to roll an attack into Ebony Maw, and I think kind of crucially here, we KO Ebony Maw at this point, so we get him off the board, which I'm frankly very happy with. He's a pretty strong control piece, and I like getting rid of him, if I'm honest. And then our attack into Star-Lord does enough to just like 3 damage to daze him. It's also worth noting, actually, see, I just moved Ghost Rider to get closer to Captain Marvel as part of that move as well with the Area 2 attack. So did quite a lot there. I'm quite happy. That's a daze and a KO on 2 characters and a good chunk of damage into Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is going to go next. He's going to attack Medusa twice. He is going to do 2 damage on this first attack and then 1 damage on the follow-up attack. So not great on the damage front, but he does have enough power to then hell on wheels to run away from Captain Marvel. Probably the smart move here. Best not to leave him hanging there for her to come in and just daze. Again, he's activated. It would have prevented him activating as well, which probably would have been a big thing this turn. So he's going to run away like that over there. So I'm going to go with Captain Marvel next. She is going to jump through the portal. Now, here, either portal she pops out of, she's going to be in range of someone to do something, even if my opponent controls where she goes. She does drop the spider. She does drop the spider infected. That's my only worry, but I need to start getting his models off the board to be able to then maintain some. Otherwise, they just piecemeal pick up my poor Medusa. So she places herself here on this central portal. So I've got 2 characters on the central portal. She is then going to shoot Ghost Rider with her sort of 4 dice energy attack. She doesn't do any damage. She then binaries and then dazes Ghost Rider with that second attack. Again, quite important there. Really, really good. Gets him to drop the spider infected he was holding as well. And that's me done for the turn. So Groot's going to go. He's going to move towards that central point. He's then going to activate his spender. I am Groot. He then KOs Medusa. He does obviously get a throw with that, but I play Indomitable before Medusa is KO'd to prevent her being thrown into Captain Marvel. So unfortunately, that does then drop the spider infected that Medusa was holding, and she gets taken off the board. Rocket's going to move. He's going to pick up a spider infected, and then he's going to take a pot shot at Captain Marvel. He's not going to do any damage because she's rolling like 6 energy defense at the moment. And that is the end of turn 3. We're getting very quick now. So really sorry there. We did actually forget to roll for the spider infected at the start of that turn. So my apologies. We're actually also going to forget it at the start of turn 4. Unfortunately, again, everything was getting so exciting. I think we just lost track of who had what and what happened. But we do limit each of the scores quite heavily here. So I only get 1 point here for that central portal that Danvers is on because she is healthy, and my opponent gets 2 points for the spider infected that Groot and Rocket are holding. So it's only 7-8 in favour of the Guardians, but it might be a little bit too little too late for the A-Force to come back swinging on this one. So yeah, it's all looking like it's going to be a very fast couple of turns now. So we've got, I'm going to go first. Carol's going to activate. Debates what she does and where she goes, but in the end she does just punch Star-Lord and somehow does nothing. Unfortunate, but you know, that's the way it goes. He does have 3 defense, so actually it's not too bad. He has winging it tokens if he needs it. She then punches him a second time and just does a single point of damage. She's then going to use her throw to throw Star-Lord into Groot, doing a bit of chip damage to each of them. My opponent's then going to activate his 4 characters, and he's going to go Ghost Rider is going to hell on wheels into Carol, or closer to Carol, I should say. And again, there's a bit of debate here about what activation order my opponent goes in. Can he pick everything up this turn and potentially score 7 points? So he's going to go with the Ghost Rider, as we said, and he's going to just move next to Carol and next to this central objective and central spider infected. He's then going to hit Carol for 3 damage and penance stare her and daze her. So you know what I said about the fact that she was on full health and everything. Yeah, no, straight to dazed in a couple of attacks. Penance stare, very good power. He then picks up the spider infected, as I said. Star-Lord's then going to move twice. He's not got the movement. We're not sure what happened here. Maybe it's just a mismeasurement, or maybe it's the size of the base on Ghost Rider that just causes a little bit of trouble. But in the end, we do like a double move on Star-Lord so that he can pick up this spider infected towards the bottom of the table. Unfortunately, he's not going to quite get close enough to hold that portal as well, but in the end decides just to pop himself just the other side of where the spider infected currently is, but not close enough to get the portal, and obviously picks up that spider infected. Groot and Rocket are just going to move so that they are securing that portal. That's a really quick turn, that turn. I score no points because unfortunately Carol is dazed on that central objective. My opponent scores 4 spider infected, the most spider infected he can actually physically score because he's only got 4 characters on the board, and he scores 2 of the 3 portals. So he gets a rocking 6 points in that turn to my 0. So I'm still on 7, and that rockets my opponent up to 14. So you'll be happy to know we do remember spider infected at the start of this turn. The only person it actually moves that is relevant is Star-Lord, and does pull him closer, or I make it pull him closer to Carol, so he's away from that objective and next to Ghost Rider. Captain Marvel is then going to throw Ghost Rider into Star-Lord, hoping that actually being a size 3, that will do quite a bit of damage, hopefully, to him. Unfortunately, we don't. We only do the 1 damage onto Star-Lord. Also get 1 damage on Ghost Rider as well. We then attack Star-Lord, and unfortunately don't do any damage. And then we attack him again and do 1 damage, which leaves him alive on 1 health. Now, the hope here was to get him to drop a Spider Infected and, just again limit my opponent's scoring. I know I'm going to lose at this point, but try and score as much as I can, try and limit my opponent's scoring too much. But, alas, it wasn't to be. Star-Lord's then going to go, he's going to full auto Carol and do 2 damage, stun and bleed. He's then going to hit and run and full auto and KO Carol. And then after that, it's just a case of my opponent moving and mopping up. So he is going to score basically everything this turn, as many points as he can, which is the whole 7. So the 4 Spider Infected and the 3 Portals. It's easily done. Not 100% sure, clear myself in the rules, if whether or not you score immediately upon the KO, or if you get the points at the end of the turn. Again, not important for this because it's just a casual mess about game. But that is the end for the A-Force, unfortunately. So yeah, it didn't go quite to plan. I was really happy with how Medusa performed this game. I'm looking forward to exploring her a bit more, help shore up some of that, people throwing away my She-Hulk, get her back in quite easily. You saw the actual range of movement on that double Royal Decree turn, and then obviously that Area 2 attack was amazing. I think I was unfortunate. Got 2 characters days turn 1. Ebony Maw, not unlikely, because he is a 6 threat. He has got a huge throw, and Black Tongues actually did manage to do a decent amount of damage. Angela was my fault. Like, I should have bodyguarded onto She-Hulk, and that would have prevented that. There's no accounting for the 9 damage penance there. That sometimes that happens, and that's the way the game works. I actively chose in this game not to take any of my healing cards on the basis that I actually wanted to try what it was like not to have the healing cards available to me and see if that made much of a difference. I think because She-Hulk only has that health pool, like her defensive stats are just so, like 3-4-3. I think maybe the healing cards do need to come back. I think I need to be aware that how A-Force Assemble actually works, because that could have been big, and Key would have got an extra defense die onto She-Hulk for all of those attacks on that turn that she was taken out. So yeah, I think I'm quite happy for this, my first sort of test game into things like Ebony Maw, my first game using Medusa, and I'm looking forward to doing those again in the future. So thanks for watching, and see you again next time.